This is President Bill Clinton. You're listening to the Mason World Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. They asked me if I was listening to other podcasts. These allegations are false. I did not listen to other podcasts. I only listen to Mason World Late Night Internet Marketing. Ooh, I love that show. You need to check them out.
Episode 25.
You can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
You're listening to the MasonWorld.com Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast with your host, Mark Mason, building internet businesses one night at a time.
Hey, it's Mark Mason, and I'm back on the mic. And believe it or not, I am on the road again, and actually I am podcasting with a blanket over my head. Now, yes, that's right, I said a blanket over my head. Once upon a time, I remember Jason Van Orden telling me that in his flat in Argentina, when he was doing the Internet Business Mastery podcast from Argentina, that he had an echo in his flat that was so bad that the only way he could get good podcast recordings without the echo was to podcast with a blanket over his head. And of course, it was really hot in Argentina, and he had this blanket over his head, and he's sweating doing his podcast. And I thought, how ridiculous is that? What kind of knucklehead podcast under a blanket? Well, I'm in a hotel in Taiwan. I've got a similar problem with echo, and now I'm the idiot podcasting under a blanket. So if you can imagine this, I'm in the Sheraton in Hsinchu, Taiwan, and I've got this fancy down comforter on the bed, and I'm under this bed like a kid who's staying up late with a flashlight reading the comic book that he's not supposed to be reading in the middle of the night. I've got my Adderall recorder and earbuds in so I can hear the levels in my ear while I talk. It's just kind of funny. So that's how serious I am about podcasting. I'm podcasting under a blanket. Anyway, I am in Taiwan, and I've been running a couple of days behind on getting an episode out. I think I last talked to you about 10 days ago. I've been working hard trying to stay on this weekly schedule, and I wanted to make sure that I got an episode out while I was in Taiwan. So the first thing I wanted to do was give you a little tip about internet marketing business that came to me while I was on the airplane. So this next segment is a segment that I actually recorded yesterday somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. So I'm sure that people have podcasted at 38,000 feet over the Pacific before. If not, I want to claim that I'm the first to have done that. But in any case, here's what I was thinking about when I was on the plane, on the 12-hour plane ride between Dallas and Narita Airport. Hey, it's Mark Mason from MasonWorld.com. How's everybody doing? I am in the business class section on the Boeing 777 aircraft. It's a fantastic aircraft. I'm currently 1,769 miles outside of Narita, Japan, Narita Airport. It's about, 3 o'clock in the morning in the U.S., and since it's late night internet marketing, I thought I would hop on the portable recorder here, even with the background noise that you hear in the background with the airplane noise, and say a few words about how to be a part-time internet marketer by getting stuff done when you can. A lot of you have probably heard the excuse from someone in internet marketing, maybe even yourself, that you just don't have time to work on your own business. And I totally understand that. If you've got a day job, sometimes it can be really hard to find time to work on stuff. But one of the things that people will often tell you is what you should do is work on things a little bit at a time whenever you have time. And the question usually is, well, what should I be working on? One of the things that I can recommend that you look into is the Getting Things Done system by David Allen. Now, getting things done is a complicated system with a lot of overhead. I don't actually really recommend that you implement that in its full glory, although you certainly can do that. But what I recommend that you look at is this idea of keeping a list of things to do according to context. In other words, have your list sortable by the things that you can do when you're at home versus when you're at work versus when you're on the computer versus when you need to make a phone call and so forth. So if you have an extra 15 minutes, you can look at your list and pick something that you can actually do where you are, wherever you are. So like right now I'm on the airplane. I have my iMac with me, my MacBook Air with me. And I have my portable voice recorder, so there's a few things I can do, including recording a few minutes of the Mason World Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. Well, everyone here in the business class section has on these fancy Bose noise-canceling headphones, so hopefully no one can hear me, but a lot of people are asleep, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off now, and I'll check in with you when I get to Taiwan. Okay, now I'm back underneath my blanket in Shinshu, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this episode. We had planned that this episode was going to cover the de-indexing of blog networks that we've been talking about for in the media for the last couple of weeks. And Shane Eubanks and I had some discussion about the blog de-indexing that I was going to share with you, and then I was going to share with you my thoughts about what's going on with all this and what I recommend in terms of backlinking strategy for you now that we're having this stuff going on with blog networks. But to be honest with you, the more I research this, the more complicated I see that this issue really is. And so I'm still working on an official recommendation. I've been following what a lot of the gurus have to say about this, but I don't want to just regurgitate that. I want to give you something real. And so I'm going to put that off for a week. And this week, I'm going to pull a lost interview out of the archives several months ago, or gosh, maybe it's been almost a year ago. I interviewed Cliff Ravenscraft. And in that interview, Cliff talked about the fact that the real key to being successful in business was creating value and giving stuff away. And I wanted to use that clip today to remind people that while these technical issues with backlinking are really important, still the key to being successful online is creating value and helping people. And nobody describes that any better than Cliff did in this clip that I've never aired before. It was a conversation that went on after the interview with Cliff while we were on Skype. So I want to roll that for you. And I'll tell you, the most important part of SEO is actually creating something that's worth reading or consuming, creating content that's, as Cliff says, is must-have content, can't live without content. So with that, let me give you Cliff. I did want to get into that. You want to say a few words about that? Do you have time?
I will. I'll just, because this is an important thing, and I get asked this all the time. And especially as a consultant, because I'm consulting people. They want to know, Cliff, how do you build this community? I want to market. I want to sell things. I want to promote my business, my brand, whatever the case may be. And blah 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 blah. I want to create digital products just like you've done. But I don't want to. I can't give it all away for free. So what do I decide to give away? What do I decide not to give away? And my answer is always the same: give it all away for free. Don't hold anything back. Nothing. Don't hold anything back at all. And what I mean by this is for example, now the thing is I used to answer tons of questions related to podcasting via email, and I would spend it's funny, I would spend an hour responding to somebody's email, giving them the exact step-by-step instructions they needed to solve a problem, and I wasn't charging anything for it. I was just helping a person out, right? And then I realized, 2 weeks later, I'd get the same question, and I'd have to go and see if I could dig out where I got it before, and I'd have to rework it, a little bit to fit their needs. But I would do that, and I would adjust it. And finally, I got to the point where, you know what, I'm getting so many of these questions, I just can't answer them for free all day long. But I always wanted to make sure that I always had a method of answering people's questions for free. And that's what the purpose of Podcast Answer Man is for. Podcast Answer Man, I will not hide the fact that by golly, every week it is an infomercial for my consulting purpose services and my product tutorials and the other things that I have that you can buy now. But you know what? It hasn't always been that way. And the reason why I can tell you that is because it wasn't until probably just about a year ago that I actually offered my first paid product.
Right.
But the thing is, it is there to promote me. But here's the situation. The way that I approach this, the number one purpose of the Podcast Answer Man podcast is to answer your questions. And today, when somebody asks me a question, hopefully I already have a podcast episode that I can just point them to and say, here, have a listen to this. If you have further questions, you can call it in to our voicemail feedback hotline, or I'm available for consulting currently at $200 an hour with a minimum of 1 hour, or I have these tutorials, or I have a group coaching session, class that's coming up in a couple of weeks or whatever. And so I give those the offers. And if a question comes in and I don't have the answer, I say, listen, here's the situation. I'm at a place in my business where I cannot answer these questions via email. But if you would please consider it, call my voicemail feedback hotline, leave the question there. I'll do my best to fit it into one of the upcoming shows. If you need an answer right away, I don't currently have a product tutorial. Here are the list of products that I do have, but I don't have a tutorial that answers this. I am available for one-on-one consulting, but it's the only way I can help you on a one-on-one basis. But I'd be more than happy to try to squeeze your question into the next episode that'll be out this Thursday. And so that's how I'm doing things. And when I answer people's questions, I don't give them 90% of the answer and then say, call me to set up an appointment if you want to talk about the rest. No way. I would lose everybody. So what I do is I give them, I try my best to not only answer their question, but to go the extra mile and give them more information than what they even asked for. And I consistently do that. And the thing is I make a lot of money from one-on-one consulting throughout the week. I make a lot per hour, and I schedule quite a few calls. But the thing is and my clients know this because I tell them this. I say, you realize everything that you've paid me for today is available for free online. I have 217 hours of Podcast Answer Man. If you listen to all 217 hours, within those 217 hours, everything you've asked me today is answered for free in that podcast. Well, the thing is what happens is I put all this out there every single week. I'm answering questions week after week after week, providing top-notch, high-quality, free, valuable information that is answering people's questions. But the situation is always that you're going to have somebody who has a specific need and they want to get up and running, and they don't have more than 2 or 3 hours to get it going. They want to schedule a consulting call, and this is the email I get. I get 2 or 3 of these, and I'm not exaggerating when I say every week, 2 to 3 of these, and it's almost word for word. Hey Cliff, my name is so and so. I found you about 2 weeks ago as a result of a Google search. I was searching for cameras, and I saw this, and then I've been browsing your site. I've spent hours on your site, and I've listened to about 7 of your podcast episodes. I need to hire you. That's it.
Awesome.
I mean, it's like I know who you are. You don't need to sell me on your services. You don't need to you don't need to tell me what your consulting rate is, because I've heard you mention it a couple times. I mean, when can I get on your schedule? That's almost always the first initial contact I get from a new client. It's not, can you tell me how you can possibly help me? It's, can I get on? I want on your schedule.
I mean, that's the same thing that happened to me, right? It wasn't convince me that you know what I need to buy. It was, hey, I need this equipment. Tell me what to buy. I'm ordering it. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just very simple. So I'm a living example.
And the other cool thing about this, giving it all away for free, this is my favorite thing, is occasionally, Mark, you might, let's just say let's just say Jason Van Orden, you had never heard of me before. And Jason Van Orden says, you really got to talk to this Cliff Ravenscraft guy. And you kind of put it off for a while. And then you talk to somebody else. And it's like, you mentioned podcast. You got to talk to Cliff Ravenscraft. It's like, well, who's this Cliff Ravenscraft guy? So you email me without really investigating my site. And you say, hey, Cliff, my name's Mark. And I've had 2 people now tell me I need to hire you. Can you tell me what you do and how and whether or not you think you can help me? I would write to you back a very personal, handwritten or personally stylized message just for you, Mark. But the essence of that message would be, do me a favor, before you consider hiring me, go and listen to 2 or 3 of the most recent episodes of my podcast. If you are not 100% convinced that you need to hire me, then you shouldn't hire me. That's my sales pitch today.
Wow. I love that. It's amazing.
That's what giving things away for free. And the other thing about giving things away for free is I like to go to these things called podcamps. This is where, podcasters go or people just in general like to go to become podcasters or to talk with other podcasters and social media geeks and all this other stuff. And I go to these, and all the time I have people come out and says, man, Cliff, I'll tell you what, I've been listening to you. I've never had to hire you. I've never had to do this because I listen to your podcast and you give it all away for free. And I want to, and this phrase comes out all the time. I feel like I owe you something. I feel
reciprocity,
like
my friend.
It is the theory of reciprocity. Give value to people, and they will want to return equal or greater value to you. And I'm not kidding when I say I put out a digital product, a brand new digital product, and I send it out to my mailing list, and immediately the sales just thunder in, not just roll, but I mean they thunder in. And the reason why is because it takes me so long. I'm so busy doing so many other things between products. But I literally have a massive online community of people whose lives have benefited, not just in learning how to podcast, but you said, Mark, that there are things that you do in your business that you've been inspired to do differently. You got people out there who are debt free today as a result of a podcast that my wife and I shared a long time ago. We got people. I've personally lost more 50 pounds. My wife's lost 70 pounds. We've got people who listen to us share how we've changed our life. And we've got people who listen to us who've lost more than 100 pounds. So we've got people whose lives out there have been changed in a very positive way because we're consistently looking for ways to help people and not looking for how can we get money out of it. And so when we offer something that people can buy, they go out of their way to buy it if it has any stretch to where it might be something that they can use. And of course, we're only creating products that we know or believe that is going to meet a direct need of our audience.
It's just an awesome way to roll, man. I mean, you build trust and people come to you because they know you can help. I love it. Thank you so much for spending the extra time to share that. You've met all my expectations tonight and more, man. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for spending the extra time. I know my listeners appreciate it too. And I just love the way things are going to you. And really, Cliff, the more successful you are, the happier I am, dude. You're killing it, and I love it.
It's a blessing to hear those things from people like you, Mark. It really is, because you can get stuck in the daily grind, and sometimes I just get so used to doing what I'm doing that I forget that that it is making a difference in people's lives. And I love doing these interviews and hearing those things, and it blesses me, and it is a blessing for me to be exposed to your audience out there, and I really appreciate the privilege and the honor of having been on your show here.
I want you to do one more favor for me. I want you to say hello to Stephanie for me.
I will do that. I'll go tell her right after we hang up here.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much, and you know where to find me if you need me, sir. You have a great day.
You too, Mark. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Cliff, and man, it's really hot under this blanket. So the next piece of content that I want to share with you is another piece from Shane Eubanks, where we were talking about some of the social media experimentations and ideas for getting traffic to your website using social media. And I think this is relevant. We've been talking a lot about SEO, and one of the things we know for sure is that more and more of the signal that Google's using to rank your site is coming from social media. So we know this is really important. And in this clip, Shane gives some really great ideas based on some social media experimentation that he's been doing. So we'll take you to that clip right now.
And what we're seeing on, enterprise level especially, and I've tested this on the side, is, and Google's actually talked about this, they've come out and said it, that social sharing, social linking is far more important, or they give far more weight to that than all of these backlinks coming from, all these sites that you could get, links from. So I did this as a test on a brand new website I launched 2 weeks ago. And all I did was get Facebook and Twitter links and Pinterest links. And I gave some +1s to it. So I made sure I had Facebook, Twitter, Google +1, and Pinterest linking to it. And what I noticed was it was indexed within a day. It was indexed within 24 hours in all 3 major search engines. It started ranking within 48 hours. And in the first week and a half, it's brought in over 400 visits, primarily through search engines. And this is all from social linking. So sharing it on Facebook, tweeting about it on Twitter, posting some things on Pinterest that get repinned, just giving it a few +1s. Social sharing, Google's been preaching it for the past year and a half, is becoming so much more important. If people take their mind or their thoughts off of getting crummy backlinks from blog networks that people are never going to click through and just using those to build rank, if they start thinking about links that will actually drive traffic and that Google and the other search engines are valuing, I think they get a lot of different perspectives on, what it is that causes Google or Yahoo or Bing to rank a website so highly. So you think about viral, you think about social sharing, you think about the links from those social networks. They've been telling us for well over a year now that that's important, and you're starting to really, really see that now.
Yeah, the problem is, though, if you're really going to get some Facebook likes, you're going to have good content. And I think a lot of these guys don't have that.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's a come to Jesus moment. It's, do you want to run a legit business, or are you trying to game the system? And I hate to just throw it out there like that, but, Google is starting to penalize the people that just don't have good content. So you got to make sure your content is worth reading and worth, if it's providing value to people. If it's providing value to people, Google, Yahoo, Bing are going to share you with other people.
Yeah, I've said this many, many times on the podcast. If you want to have a real business, you have to add value, because that's what people pay for, is value.
Yeah. You quote Zig Ziglar all the time, and it's a perfect quote. It's, so it's the same way with websites. You give people value and you'll get what you want.
All right, sir. Well, what else is there for us to cover?
I wanted to kind of talk about some of the social things that I did.
Oh, that's right. You've been running some experiments.
Yeah. So talking about this new site that I launched, I want to specifically talk about Facebook and Pinterest. We all know how to tweet. I'm not going to get into, Twitter too much.
Well, some of us tweet better than others.
Well, Twitter, it basically comes down to, if you've got a, whether it's a review site or an affiliate program or something, just tweeting, mentioning the company or the person that developed it, maybe in your tweet, so that they can mention you in their reply or retweet you. It becomes a backlink or becomes brand exposure for your website. So just utilizing Twitter, smartly, and reaching out to the people that are involved with whatever product or service it is you're promoting. So, that's basic Twitter right there. But I wanted to really talk about Facebook and Pinterest, some of the things that I did in these past week and a half, I guess it was, to get some exposure, get some links back to this website. So on Facebook, you create a page for your site or business. And then Facebook allows you to use Facebook as that page. Okay, so that's the first step, creating a Facebook page, using Facebook as that page.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that where your name is in the upper right, if you pop that down, you can become any page that you're the admin for.
Exactly. So this is kind of the secret sauce into what I'm about to talk about. So when you start using Facebook as that page, you can go over and like industry related pages or businesses, or if you're talking about a product or service, become a fan or like their page. And what this will allow you to do is possibly post on their wall, post a link on their wall, or you can tag them in your post on your wall, so that your post or whatever will show up on their wall. So what I did was there were some businesses that I had talked about that I actually gave, awards or whatever for, ranked them in the top 5 or 10. And I went on their page and was just like, hey, congratulations for making the top 10, and said something like, if you're a fan of this company, click like, and all of a sudden it got a bunch of likes and people started driving traffic to it. And then they would like it when they got on that page because they were just fans of whatever that business was. So that's an easy way to get, links or likes or whatever from Facebook. So does that kind of make sense as far as that bird trail I kind of went down there?
Yeah, I think so. So let's say, let's use a more concrete example. So let's say you're, I don't know, Sears and Roebuck. So your Sears and Honda lawnmowers have been awarded by Sears to be one of the best lawnmowers of the season. And so you're saying that Sears should go into Facebook and use Facebook as the Sears fan page. So they take on that identity in Facebook now. The person behind the keyboard is operating as the Sears fan page. And then they can do things like talk about Honda on their fan page, on the Sears fan page, and tag Honda and say something really nice about them, and invite Honda fans to click like on the post on the Sears fan page. That will show up on the Honda wall as a post because they were tagged, and generate this sort of semi-viral response. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I'm saying not to do it in a spammy way, but do it in a way that's, acknowledging them for something. I mean, you would do it anyway if you're congratulating someone. You'd want other people to see that they won something or being given an award or whatever. So don't think of it as a spammy way to do something. Think of it as you are acknowledging somebody for something great that they're doing.
Well, and really you are. I mean, you're exposing the Honda brand to everyone on the Sears fan page in that way, and you're just, getting the word out. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think you want to have a really good reason, a primary reason that is not generating likes. That can't be your primary reason. Your primary reason needs to be helping your supplier, in this case, get more recognition.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways to abuse this. So I just wanted to, draw that line as far as the proper way to do it, kind of the etiquette behind it. So make sure that it is a technique that works, but just use it gracefully.
So you're from the South, so etiquette's important to you. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Hold doors open and all that stuff. So.
I understand that. My 5-year-old boy holds doors open for women already. So it works the same way here in Texas.
You've taught him well. All right. Now, Pinterest. Pinterest is a big one. So
now you're not a woman. Are you allowed to talk about Pinterest?
I know. I'm handing in my man card when I'm talking about Pinterest.
Okay.
But you know what? It's backlinks, and it draws traffic. It's on the enterprise level. It's certain industries. It is gangbusters right now. It is drawing more traffic than Twitter and Facebook for some niches. So if your niche, I can't even say if your niche, caters itself to Pinterest. There are ways to use Pinterest for pretty much any niche. So one tip that I want to give about Pinterest is when you pin something from a website, it does put a link to that website as the source, but it no follows it. But you can put a URL in the description, not with href tags or anything like that. Just put the actual, HTTP, www, whatever. It will turn that into a link, and it makes it do follow. So that I don't know how long that is going to be live on Pinterest. And after this podcast, they may shut it off. But
the 4 people that listen to my podcast will run over there and do that, and they'll shut it down. Huh?
So anybody that's listened to the podcast all the way through has gotten the golden nugget that you can get followed links in Pinterest by putting your URL in the description.
Whoa! I'm gonna go do that tonight.
So you can write that one down.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've also heard that if I'm not, I don't have a Pinterest strategy, sorry. But I've heard that if this link that gets created, when you pin something, a link gets automatically created. And I've heard you can edit that link and even make it an affiliate link in some cases. Is that true?
I haven't done it personally. I've heard the same thing that you've heard. I don't know how long that will stay live because Facebook has basically removed the ability to put affiliate links when you're sharing anything on Facebook.
Right.
So I would imagine Pinterest to follow suit.
Facebook follows through and resolves the link and posts the resolved link or something like that, right?
Yeah. So you can't even like set up redirects on your site. It'll find it and it'll take it down.
That's right.
So I imagine Pinterest is going to follow suit. You can play around with it and try it until it works. You know, it's the same thing with the do follow in the description. Just write it until it works. And again, some people may see this as gaming the system. It's not really gaming the system. It's just, you know, using what's available. And if you can put a URL in the description and it's do follow, why not? I mean, Twitter, you were allowed to do that when they first came out, and a lot of sites benefited from it. So Pinterest is doing the same thing, and we'll see how long we can ride that wave.
Okay, that's awesome. That is an awesome tip. I'm going to go check that out.
And one thing about Pinterest, on SEO Moz, I don't know if you read SEO Moz any.
I do.
But they had a article on there just a few days ago about instructographics, is what the guy was calling it.
Yeah, that's in my Instapaper queue. I haven't read that article yet, but it's in there.
It's really good because they talk about the most popular times to pin something on Pinterest, and they talk about these instructographics that are really, really popular on Pinterest right now. So it's definitely worth a read, checking that out.
Okay, I will check that out, and I'll locate that and put a link in the show notes, at least theoretically. I've got a lot of work. These show notes are going to be a lot of work for me. You've created a lot of work for me to go do now. I want to thank you so much. Now, if people want to find you, I know you're normally sort of a little bit off the radar, but if people want to find you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, if I post anything about interactive marketing or internet marketing, it's over at genuineinternetmarketing.com. Typically it's, you know, I range from enterprise articles to, you know, small business kind of articles. So yeah, genuineinternetmarketing.com is where I post stuff. And like you said, I fly kind of under the radar because, you know, I spend all my time working on the websites. I don't I don't make money teaching people how to make money on the internet. So I make money actually doing this stuff.
Okay, well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Mason World Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm having a great time here in Taiwan. I'm about to hook up with a couple of my travel companions. We're going to go on a little walking tour around here, around the hotel, see what kind of trouble we can get into and find some local cuisine. I love all manner of Oriental food, so we'll find something wonderful to eat tonight, and then I'll be hitting it pretty early in the morning to go to the south end of the island for some meetings there, and headed back to the States in time to get you another episode next week where we will talk about the de-indexing of blog networks next week for sure. So until then, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Mason World Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. Got some thoughts about today's episode? Drop Mark a line at masonworld.com or call his digital feedback line at 214-444-8655. Most of all, have an awesome day.
Working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my